tell you I was a musician? Oh yeah, starting in middle school I played the French horn. See, my parents were musicians. Are musicians. Shush, I'm killing them up already. That's a trumpeter, mom's a violinist, and of course, I was born into that. My house was never quiet. There was always music playing or being played. Being certain symphonies, acid jazz, or Wagner's operas. The house was never quiet. There was always a rhythm in the air. And it was a great thing to grow up with. To be swallowed whole by all this music, you know? And so I got the music book from my parents, so you could say. And for some reason or another, I picked up the French horn. What I loved about it was how it sounds, like a call to action. So energetic, but not in that bass violent kind of way, but in, it sounds so regal, so important. And when I held it in my hands, when I blew it and heard the timbre coming out on the other side, I felt like I could conquer the world if I wanted to. It's that sort of instrument. And believe it or not, I was really good at it. Damn good. I was convinced I was going to be a concert musician. I loved it so much. So, by the time I got to high school, I was the first chair in the school orchestra. Granted, nobody in school could play it. So, when I got to school, I decided that I was going to be this. Even though it wasn't this great accomplishment, I knew that it was the first step to get to where I wanted to be in life. So, imagine my surprise when, in the middle of my junior year, there was another student who played the French horn. He was a transfer, a new kid. His name was Dr. Hollis. He got second chair, obviously. And so we talked a little. I could tell that he had a crush on me. He would do all this dorky fifth grade stuff, like putting notes inside my backpack and things like that. And I don't know why I eventually said yes to him. Because, to be honest, I wasn't attracted to him at all. He was really tall, like 6 feet, really bulky, soft belly, soft arms, soft, but not really comforting. Acne all over his cheeks, crazy braces over crazy teeth. I had no taste. I didn't like him at all in that way, but there was something. We were kind of dating, and I settled down. I settled down for the first thing that came along. And I learned that you cannot just settle down for the first thing that gets your attention, because that's when things get messy and people get hurt. One night, he picks me up. He takes me to his house. The drive there was silence. And I knew what he wanted. The question was I going to give it to him? So I would stare out the window, at the clouds in the sky, at the stars, and arrange them into notes to see what the sky was playing for me. We arrived at his house. I looked around his room. I had never been there before. It was a mess. It was freezing. And he begins taking off his clothes. And he begins kissing me. And I shook my head. I shook my head. I realized that's what he needed. But he didn't even notice me. And he just kept it in. I tried to hear the music in my head. But all I could hear was grunting and bed springs and the low hum of the radio. And I was silent. I was crying. And I was silent. And I let him continue. And he didn't even notice. And it didn't fucking occur to him to ask me what was wrong. And he continued. And I let him. Soon, it's over. Finally, he noticed my silence. was wrong. I lied. I turned around. I thought it was going to be different. With someone else. Somewhere else. With feelings involved. But now, I was just ordinary. Cheap. Like it didn't matter. I didn't want to see him again. I quit orchestra, quit playing the French horn. And you know what's the most tragic part about this whole story? Seeing the sadness in my parents' eyes when I told them I wasn't interested anymore. And of course, I didn't tell them the real reason. I didn't want them to go through, or me, for a matter like that. I didn't want to go through my whole life as a victim. She said no, and all that shit. To me, it's nobody else's business. I didn't want to go on like a poster girl for the art world. I didn't want to go on giving speeches or rallies, saying how bad it was the first time and how now I'm a stronger woman. No, I'm not into that. I just ignored that it happened. And think it was a bad dream. Got it from eating too much candy before sleeping. He's just a monster under my bed, trying to get me. But I wake up before he does. I know it's not the healthiest way to be alive, but it's easier. He did the most despicable